everyone, welcome back to the Creative Shelf. Nidia B here, and yeah, good to see you all. It's been a week where there's been a lot of changes in the work that I do in terms of shifting out of one client, going into work for another client, and I was kind of like thinking maybe I should skip doing the video this week, but I think it would be good just to do a bit of a quick catch up of the energies that I found that have been really kind of like very strong for me this week. There's a lot of talk as well in astrology about the age of Aquarius coming through on the winter solstice, the 21st December, where two major planets, Jupiter and Saturn, meet and at 0 degrees, which is very, very rare. And it's also the beginning of a new age, basically, where we're shifting out of Earth energy and going very much towards air energy signs and the sign of Aquarius. And in tarot, the sign of Aquarius is traditionally the water bearer, so it's the woman pouring the water into the pool. It's actually meant to be her pouring knowledge. That's what the water is representing. And the figure is completely naked because of the fact that she is representing the naked truth, the intellect in that sense. Just as I was talking, I was thinking maybe I should just pull out the card while I'm talking. So I'm quickly going to just look for it. But while I look for it, I just wanted to mention why I thought this was a really interesting point for me to talk about and do a video this week, was because I'm seeing already actually a shift in the energy and us kind of like wrapping up this earth energy that we're in, which for me really represents more about materialism, wealth, property, land, and so forth. And as we go into air, I think we're going to have a lot more focus on social structures, on social justice, on philanthropy, but also on intellect. Is very 11th house energy, and I think it's going to be an interesting shift in dynamics. And here is the star card. So the card that I was referring to in tarot is the star card, and here she is. And it's also known as the wish card, and it's really just about kind of like allowing ourselves to dream. And I thought it would just be good for me to start off this video by saying that there's been some discussions with people that I've had this week, and it's kind of like brought me back to this energy. So I thought, no, it'd be good to do a video actually. But the other thing I wanted to talk about this week, and I've got some decks here, is I want to discuss what I would call tarot overload. So I don't know if that makes sense to some of you, but here are just some 3 of the decks that I absolutely love. This is the Crow Tarot, this is the Druid Craft Tarot, and then here's an Oracle deck, the Goddess Dream. I also love other decks, such as, here's another one I've got here. Let me pull it out for you. Another one that I love is Tarot of the She, beautiful deck. I need to do a really good depth dive into this one. But, you know, the reason why I wanted to talk about tarot overload was that this week I was doing a reading, and what I found was that I found myself going into this like murky territory of not understanding what the reading was about. And as I was kind of like, you know, pulling out cards, and I was working at that time, it doesn't matter actually which deck I was working with, but what happened was that I pulled out 4 cards, and I kind of like had a story, but it just, I couldn't understand what was happening. And so at the end of the reading, I said to this person that was reading for us, said, let me pull another deck. Maybe I need to use another deck, and maybe it's the energy. And again, it started to happen. And I just realized at that moment that what was happening for me was that there was an overload going on where I wanted to pull some kind of a message or a thread, and it wasn't happening. And it was almost like I was forcing it then by jumping from deck to deck. And so I stopped and I said, you know, I think maybe it's the reading. But the person who was receiving the reading actually said that, you know, she was okay with it. And then we pulled an oracle card, and it gave her a lot of clarity. But the reason why I want to bring it up is you know, is that I don't think sometimes we talk enough about kind of like this overload of wanting to pull a message, and it's not pulling it, and it's just kind of like all over the place. And it's almost as if tarot has to be some kind of like easy, and it all makes sense from the beginning and stuff like that. And this week it was just like, no, this is a bit of a mess actually. So yeah, so I thought I'd just do a short video on acknowledging the fact that sometimes we can all go through tarot overloads, and to just be careful to not kind of like push then for a message when it's not really working in that sense. and to ease and to just give it some space, give the cards some breathing space. And when I pulled the oracle card, it completely made sense for her, and it made sense actually vis-a-vis a lot of the reading. It did help clarify. But what the moral of the story, that's what I'm trying to get at, what the learning was that sometimes, that tarot cards like to do their own thing as well. And perhaps even as a reader, it doesn't always make sense to me. So I don't know if that helps anybody this week. I'm wishing you all a wonderful end to November. Next week we start kind of like the run up towards, for some people it's Christmas, for some people it's Yule, Hanukkah, all these different festivities, the winter solstice. Personally, I'm a solstice girl. I love nature. I love being outside. So anything that marks, this passage of time, equinoxes and solstices, I absolutely love them. We're moving into winter, and it's just really a good time to just, especially if you're experiencing a lockdown and you live in the Northern Hemisphere. I know that some of us are finding it very challenging, especially as we have very long dark days, short, dark, long nights. And on top of that, a lot of us are in front of our screens quite a lot because of work and then not being outside. So I just want to say, that allow whatever tool you're using, whether it's a spiritual book, it's a spiritual practice, whether you're someone like me who likes to, sometimes I go back to the books that I love just as soothers. So sometimes I will reread a favorite book, a novel from when I was a child, to help me self-soothe. So if you need to do any of that, it's just remember that it is a difficult period for a lot of us, and it's okay. That's what I want to end on. I said that to somebody this week. It's okay sometimes to just not be able to make sense of the situation we're in, and that this too shall pass for sure. So a bit of a mixed bag video. I don't know what you're going to be taking from there, but what I'm trying to say is that I've experienced a lot of murky energies this week, and yet at the end of it, I always find that the shelf that I have, all the wonderful books and the cards and even the table books that I have, everything that I have always offers me a sense of hope and a sense of just balance and just coming back to that center ground that I need. I hope that this video helps some of you, and sorry for such a garbled mess, but I hope it makes sense. Okay, take care and see you all next week. Bye now.